Beautiful, right? That's one of the oldest rainforests you can find on the planet, and it runs along the longest mountain range in Southeast Asia. But do you know that one of the best driving roads in the country snakes right through it? We are going to drive on that very road today. For a task like that, we need a really capable car, and that's why we have the Hyundai Kona with us today. Do you know that Hyundai actually has one of the biggest R&D centers at the Nürburgring? And as a brand, Hyundai is outdoing its Japanese counterparts. In fact, Hyundai and Kia cars are surprising us with their ride and handling, which makes the Kona a perfect choice for today's event. So we gathered up with the rest of the Route Hunters gang and decided to run a Route Hunters Drive event on this road. Here's what happened. We gathered early on the drive day to make sure that everybody had their mandatory safety brief. And after arranging the convoy, we headed out of the city towards the Rawang bypass on Route 1. As we approached Kuala Kubu Baru, we went through the Empangan Pecah Road and eventually came to our first stop point, which is the Sungai Selangor Dam lookout point. After taking pictures and videos, we made sure that the convoy was rebriefed to know what they are getting into, and we started the actual drive. The route we are going to take today is called the Route 55, but it's also commonly known as the Gap Road because it runs right through Banjaran Titiwangsa. It's actually one of the oldest roads in the country and there's a lot of history through it. Check out our full video where we have actually detailed this particular road in the description below and on the link above. This road itself is pretty tight and twisty. There's no room for error here if you're trying to go for a spirited drive. It's definitely not for the inexperienced driver. It will be very overwhelming. On the plus side though, it kills the power advantage and it favors lighter cars. This road is all about continuous left and right corners, and it's all the way like this until we reached our second stop. The second stop was right next to a hidden waterfall. You can't really see this waterfall when you're driving past. We stopped here for some pictures and videos and a group shot, and of course for a breather after such an intense drive. And after a while, we set off for the second part of the drive. One thing we at Route Hunters make sure is that you drive at your own pace. You should be driving at a pace which you are comfortable with your car on that particular road, or not try to keep up with the rest of the convoy. After a while, we reached the highest point of the road where the Gap Road Rest House used to be, which is now abandoned, sadly. After the Fraser's Hill entrance, you will actually start the downhill section. The downhill section of this road is a different animal altogether. There's far less traffic going up and down here because it links Tras in Pahang to the Fraser's Hill Road, and it has not been used for a long while during lockdown. We continued down until we reached the Tras Junction, which is where we stopped for a brief moment to share some of the historical points of this particular spot to the rest of the group. And after using the Sangli Road, we reached our fourth stop, which was just outside of Bentong. This is where we had our much needed toilet break. The drive finally stopped at the Zul Highway Cafe in Kara and were treated to a buffet lunch, while the others soaked into the ambience and dug into some delicious nasi lemak with ayam goreng rempah. Rest of us took turns to test drive the Hyundai Kona. The most popular opinion that was given by the drive participants is that it's hard to believe that it's an NA engine. It really feels turbocharged. There's plenty of torque coming from the low end, and the torque is fully utilized by the brilliant CVT transmission. The CVT itself doesn't have any rubber band effect and it's instant at response, but the true highlight of the Kona has to be the chassis. The body itself is very rigid, but the dampers are well tuned for our roads. Combine this with a torquey engine and a CVT gearbox, it's a lot of fun to use this crossover on our P roads. We'll be more in-depth with the Kona in a separate review that's coming soon. Our country is full of really fun roads, like the roads that you see here. And fun roads are best enjoyed with your friends, especially when there's a nice hangout spot and good food at the end of it. Even more so fun is when you have a really good car to enjoy that road with. And the Hyundai Kona was precisely that. Well, Malaysia is full of roads like this, and we will be exploring each and every one of them with the Route Hunters crew. If you'd like to join our community, there's a link in the description and be part of our community.